Welcome to the DeFi Standard, and this is Mickey B. Fresh. And we got exciting news about Flair Networks and the token distribution event schedule. So the Flair code repository has been made public. This means that validators can onboard to the network. We're currently working with exchanges to get them onboarded to Flair such that the distribution to token holders by exchanges is as seamless as possible. Provided sufficient validators have taken up their role, the token distribution event will take place October 24th through November 6th. The exact date is dependent on feedback from exchanges. So after 2 years of patiently waiting, we finally have the schedule tentatively for the token distribution event, which is also aka the airdrop of the FLR tokens to those that held XRP in December 2020 for the snapshot. We'll start in Flair beta. So there's some slight changes here, which I think are for the better of the network and the community. Flair beta will launch whereby validation is split between professional infrastructure providers and validators run by FTSO participants. The network will be structured as follows. So the Flair Foundation will have 5 validators. The Professional Infrastructure Partner 1 will have 5 validators. Professional Infrastructure Provider 2 will have 5 validators. And then Partner 3 will have 5 validators. And the FTSO will have FTSO validators. There'll be up to 100 of them. So each FTSO may operate a full validator. During the beta period, the collective set of FTSO validators will be defined in the code base to have the effective network power of 2 validators. The purpose of this structure is to allow a safe shift of validation power from infrastructure partners to the FTSO group, such that at the end of the beta, the FTSO validators operate all of the validation power in the network. This gives FTSOs sufficient time to learn to run effective validator infrastructure or outsource this requirement without putting the burden of launching a new blockchain directly on the FTO set immediately. And I think this is important because this gives the network lower risk for launching, so it's better for the community now that we have professional infrastructure providers in there as well as the FTSO. So it doesn't centralize anything, it kind of distributes out more. So we have some from the foundation, some from the infrastructure providers, and then a slow transition into the FTSO validators. And I think this is better for the network to get going. It's also better for the Flair team that they don't have to worry as much about the security of the network while they could get going on building out the F-Asset system and launching the layer cake and launching the relayer. So those 3 core products, that's what the Flair team's going to be focusing on, where they've been focusing now on just rolling out the network. So this is good. I'm really happy about this. And another thing here is this does not change anything regarding your delegation rewards. It does not change anything regarding distribution rewards. The only change is to the validator reward. So the reward consists of, so the inflation rate is only 10%. But of that 10% inflation, 20% of it will go to the validators. And that will be split 50-50 between the infrastructure partner validators and the FTSO validators. The Flair Foundation validators are unrewarded. The required number of professional infrastructures have already agreed to participate and are working up, setting up Flair validators. Beta is expected to last 6 to 9 months. This does not affect the economics of the network, your tokens, or your delegations. And key takeaways here. The distribution event will take place between October 24th and November 6th, subject to feedback from exchanges. All right, so everybody who's concerned, and I see it a lot on Twitter, and just seeing it in general, the difference between Flair's airdrop and launch and Songbird's airdrop and launch. Very different. Important to remember, Coinbase has publicly came out, and all these exchanges have said that they will honor the distribution when the snapshot took place. Nobody agreed to the Songbird distribution. Flair team did not pick up the phone and call anyone and say, hey, we can release Songbird? No, because it was a canary network and it was still being run by the validators of Flair. This network, Flair Network, is very different. Every exchange publicly acknowledged that who's releasing it and who you had the snapshot on in December 2020 will be releasing it. 2, the Flair team has been pushing all these exchanges. You could see how they say subject to feedback from exchanges. So if we have to wait another week or two for Coinbase to launch, then we wait a week or two, because that's going to be significant. And I don't see a problem really occurring here because the network is going to be decentralized. This is a significant change from what Songbird launched as, a canary network, and the foundation was running the validators. Flair Network will be decentralized. It will have FTSO validators. It will have infrastructure provider validators, and it will have some foundation. So nobody controls the network. The governance will be built into the network where it's embedded as a DAO. So when you vote on-chain. And the proposal will come after all 66% of the exchanges and those who will self-custody are able to vote. And then you'll have to wrap your token to WFLR, which is literally one button press in the Bifrost wallet, and then you'll be able to vote. Now, what you'd like to do, the best thing to do, is delegate right from there. It comes at no risk. So the first thing you should be looking to do right now is download Bifrost Wallet, which I suggest. I mean, there's other wallets out there you could use. Use Decent. But Bifrost is just very easy to use. You could do everything right within the wallet. Now is the time to download it. It's in the mobile store, on Android, or on iPhone. Do it now. It doesn't cost anything to set up an account. It's free. And be ready. So when you get it from the exchanges, if that's where you're receiving it, you could send it right there, and you're ready to go. And then you don't have to stress and do anything. There's a step-by-step guide, which I'll put in the description, and it's very easy to do. Delegating literally is just right within the wallet. It's very self-explanatory. You just wrap the token. All you pay is a very tiny gas fee, and then you delegate to 2 different signal providers. And then we have the beta. So beta will last for 6 to 9 months. This does not affect the token economics or your tokens or the delegations. So what are the delegations? Just to recover here some of the things that we've covered from the past. But you could check out videos in the Level Up series where I went over the FTSO. So you delegate to signal providers, which we call FTSOs. They're independent, operated signal providers. Now, compared to Songbird, they'll only be at max cap of 2.5% vote power from each signal provider, or FTSO. So that means we're going to need more FTSOs on Flair. There's not going to be one, for many of you who have been delegating on Songbird, expect a change with that lowering of vote cap, because that's going to have a significant impact, because it's going to level everything out. So what this will do is it will make it more fair for all the FTSOs, and I think it'll be better for the community because nobody will be bunched at the top and you just go to the top 5 FTSOs. The price feeds have been spot on Songbird. So the Oracle system, the way it's put at the heart of the Flair network, and it's the beating heart, has operated flawlessly, better than Binance, Coinbase, any of those APIs. If you just pulled one from there and you looked at the graph of Binance's price or Coinbase's versus the FTSOs is rock solid on. It doesn't have these little dips and these little spikes that happen on individual exchanges. And this is what happens when you have probabilistic data coming into a network from up to 100 different sources and getting truncated through. So the system itself needs to operate flawlessly for the F-asset system, for Layer K collateral system, and for Flair's demand. Because FLR, the token that you're receiving, the utility is massive. So it comes with FTSO delegation rewards. This is built in to the token. It comes at no risk to you, and you're able to use it immediately. As soon as you get it, delegate. The highest rewards will be in the first few weeks, and it will get less and less from there. Now, why is that? That is because there's going to be least participation rate. The least amount of people are going to participate in the beginning. Well, everyone's like focusing on the price and all these exchanges. You're delegating, just simply delegating. It's an airdrop for free. Not financial advice here, but it's just logical advice. You know, trying to play that game of, oh, I'm going to sell high and buy low. Good luck. For something you got free, you're going to make massive rewards in the beginning. Then, when the vote takes place, which will be shortly after, there'll be a 7-day notice for the vote. Once that triggers in, and then there'll be 7 days of voting. And it'll be based on a snapshot of like before that of your vote power. Then once that proposal is implemented, which is very likely to pass, that means that 3 random snapshots will occur in the next 30 days. So after those 30 days, it'll snapshot 3 random times from that period of 30 days before, and the mean, so the average of what you held in WFLR. So if you're holding on the exchange, doesn't count. You have to have it wrapped, and you might as well have it delegated if you have it wrapped. I mean, there's no risk to it. You don't have to, but that would just kind of make no sense. So wrapped and delegated, those people who have that, and there'll be the least participation in the beginning. So I saw some people trying to say that, oh, you're not going to earn as much with the new proposal. That's nonsense. It's just crunch the numbers. It's right in the proposal. And there's no way there's going to be 60% participation early. You know, I'm just being honest of the community, and you can look at what Songbird was. I think it was 15% or something in the beginning. So say we're roughly around that. The first month's distribution, we're looking at 600 to 700 million coming out. That's a massive amount of FLR or Flair token now coming out to those who participate. So you have to engage with the network to receive more tokens. This is like every other network. It's crypto economics. It's not anything abnormal. The Flair team, they cannot receive the distribution awards. So they're out. So everybody who receives XRP has an advantage because you already have the tokens. You're the only ones who have tokens. If anyone else wants to participate, they can come in and they'll receive the distribution, but they have to buy the tokens. But then we're all on the same level playing field. I think that's fair because otherwise we just have 3 years of just 36 months of dumping continuously by people who have no interest in the network. Now we remove that all from the network, and we have people who want to participate who are in there, who are delegating to the FTSO, and also who are receiving that distribution. That monthly distribution in the first few months is going to be massive, and it's going to be a rude awakening for some people after month 1 and see what they missed, or those who sell, or those who try to sell and then buy back after. Not financial advice, but you know, I would definitely crunch the numbers and add that up. So this is exciting. Now that the Flair Network is ready for the token distribution event, and after 2 years, they have built out so much more than what was initially being built as a single utility for a single community. Now, we still have the same privileges. Everything's all the same. We just have now the addition of Layer Cake being built. We have the addition of the Relayer being built. And we have the addition of F assets. So FXRP is going to be one of the first assets that will be available to mint. Every asset that is brought to Flair, say it be F assets or Layer Cake assets, earn daily rewards. So that means you're going to have the top blue chip cryptos being used in dApps on Flair or cross-chain that will earn native yield in FLR. But it drives demand because every time a Layer Cake asset's mint or F asset, it locks up collateral in FLR. So there's this constant demand for FLR. Even though there's all these rewards and distribution coming out, you're going to have this demand where it's going to lock up Flair, lock up Flair, lock up Flair. But it's being used. It's not locking up just to secure the network. It's a utility being used as collateral. And collateral is one of the biggest utilities in all of crypto. And what they're building here is an insurance risk management network for cross-chain value transfer and value movement and data. So that's with the Relayer. And these core products, we don't have full details on them yet, besides the white paper, and I would expect to see them either closer to launch or right after. because they'll build the foundation for these dApps and ecosystem to come over. So check out the video I made prior to this one on Flair utility, because it really dives into the Flair's token utility and what really the things that you could do all at once. Because unlike many other tokens, when you stake it, that's it. You stake it, you get that reward. That's it. You can't use it unless you make a liquid derivative. Now you're using a derivative, and then you could use it somewhere else. Flair is different in that you could delegate to the FTSO, simultaneously earn the distribution, and then simultaneously use the FLR token as collateral and still earn the distribution and still earn the FTSO delegation rewards and simultaneously vote in governance. So those four things are possible all at once. So the distribution will be tied to the token, not the account. So that remaining 85% will no longer be attached to your account if the governance proposal goes through, which is just very likely. So that's something to keep in mind. 85% won't attach to account. It's attached to the token after the governance proposal goes through. So important to note that. I think it's important. I think it's going to be massive for all of you who have paid attention and who have followed for the last 2 years. You will be heavily rewarded here because what Flair's building is not very simplistic. It is complex and it is complicated. So there is a learning curve. It's not extremely steep, but it takes a little effort to learn what's going on here and how the network's being built and what the vision is. But if you've been following along, you have this inherent advantage and you're being part of a community. So this is very different from the XRP Ledger's ecosystem that has been in the past. XRP Ledger and the community there'll be a rapid increase that people are going to have a rude awakening next year that happens. But until then, it's not something they're used to. So this is a community-driven effort, and communities going to be directly involved in all the governance and the say on the network. There are no big whales. You are the whales if you're receiving the FLR token. So that's how you should think about this, and it's definitely fair for everybody, and I think you have the advantage here. So it's very rare that you get the chance to get an airdrop of a layer 1 network building at this scale that's also being distributed to 100 plus exchanges. This is the largest token distribution that has ever taken place publicly of a layer 1 at this scale and being launched with a decentralized governance, a decentralized consensus, and a widely distributed token. Those 3 checkboxes are very rare to find in any networks that launch because usually they're proof of stake and they got to get to the VCs and then the VCs get all the token. We don't have that problem here with Flair token. It's going to the XRP community, and it's important to understand the mechanics and the design behind this so you know what best decisions to make. This is not financial advice, but I'm Mickey B. Fresh, and I'm out.